Hi, my name is William Boone. I'm currently working with the U.S. Air Force as a unit deployment monitor.
Hi, I'm Clifton R. Melvin Jr. I work with the U.S. Air Force as a computer technician, and I've been serving since 2006 in May.
My name is Darren Turner. I'm a client system technician for the U.S. Air Force.
My name is Magdalene Kalush, and I'm personnel for United States Air Force.
Okay, so researcher and professor Dr. Eleanor Beamla Schwartz said, breastfeeding is an important part of the way women's bodies recover from pregnancy. There are certain hormonal and physiological changes the body expects to go through after pregnancy, and when those changes don't happen, that leaves certain body systems in a precarious way. The longer a mother nurses her baby, the better for the both of them. So, hello everyone, my name is Clarissa Boone, and I have a 3-month-old daughter that was born January 26th. Her name is Charisma, and I breastfed her for 2 months, and now I don't nurse her to the breast, but rather I just pump and bottle feed her. That's the way she prefers it. So. Alright, so terms to be familiar with for this speech. Obstetrics and gynecology. They're both medical sciences, just one deals with birth and its sequels, and gynecology deals with the diseases and routine physical care of the female reproductive system. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, they don't know what causes it, but they do know what can prevent it, putting your baby to sleep on its back, without pillows, without bumpers, in its crib. Antibodies are the what your immune system produces to fight bacteria and infections. Sorry, I skipped postnatal. Postnatal is just the term they use for after all the care that goes into what the baby needs after it's born. Breastfeeding and breast milk are just basically, breastfeeding is the process of feeding your baby breast milk, or otherwise known as human milk. Colostrum is the breast milk filled with all the nutrients your baby needs for the first 2 months of its life. It contains all the immunizations that you've had and that the baby needs, like I said, for the first 2 months of its life, and it's produced 3 days before you give birth, and it's ready for the baby to eat as soon as you give birth. Okay, so the benefits for mom. Physically, your uterus, your cervix, everything goes back to normal, like within 3 months span. Mentally, you are less likely to have postpartum distress disorders. Basically, you would go through a depression stage, and you have a lower risk if you breastfeed. Emotionally, you have a closer bond with your baby if you breastfeed. You have a lower risk of cardiovascular disease, high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, and hip fractures, which I left off of here. Benefits for baby include fitting every need. Every time baby comes to the breast, it gets as much as it needs before it latches off, and in the right amount. It's not like a heavy flow coming. It's based off of what it wants. It goes into breast milk comes in a very precise form where it can digest, and it has lower risk of diarrhea and constipation. The antibodies that your body produces are released through the breast milk for the baby to consume, and therefore it's protected against germs and bacteria that you come in contact with. This leads to less trips to the hospital. And in a study that was done, bottle-fed babies in Brazil, in a 6-month period, it cost $68,000 to send them to the hospital versus the $4,000 breastfed baby cost. The breast milk has certain growth factors and growth hormones that is released through the breast milk that formula cannot be reproduced in formula. There's a study that shows that babies scored approximately 8 points higher on IQ tests. It varies. They say that it could have been breast milk and the bonding with the baby, but it's really not, certain. It's just one of those things that they threw out there. So they say that breast milk is the most renewable resource, being that formula is produced from cows and soybeans. Cows need open grasslands to survive. Then when they chop down those rainforests to provide these open grasslands, the cows then trample and cause erosion, and not only do they trample and ruin these grasslands, their waste produce 20% of all of our methane emissions in the air. Then that directly affects the greenhouse, effect that we're all facing with global warming, so it just adds to that. Then after they produce their formula and get their milk from the cows, they need to transport that to the factories to produce the formula that will then need to be transported to consumers, and all that gas is also adding to our pollution. Toxins that are emitted from, I forgot to define this term, but PCB is just a toxin that's emitted from producing and making formula. And there was a study that showed that it added to not only pollution, but an Indian reservation that was nearby a General Motors plant that produced the same emissions that formula produces was, I guess, inhaled by the people, and so the mothers that gave birth, it was naturally in their breast milk and given to the babies, but the babies that were breastfed, the toxin amount didn't rise after they were fed their initial feeding, versus the babies that were bottle fed not only had that initial amount, but kept on inhaling all of the toxins, and the toxin amount increased, basically. So nipples and bottles, they are filling our landfills, and another research study shows that for every 3 million babies that are bottle fed, 450 million formula tins fill our landfills. The downfalls of breastfeeding. Many women, most of them young, believe that breasts are solely a sexual tool, when we all know that women were made to give birth and to naturally feed our children with breast. Anyway, another downfall is if the woman has HIV or AIDS, such as women in Africa. They need to be formula fed, otherwise their children are going to, have AIDS themselves. Another downfall is bonding with dads. Some dads don't feel that they are, bonding like the mom does. Mothers complain of nipple and breast pain, but it's hard work, You're going to get what you put into it. So does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have one question.
Yes.
As a breastfeeding mother, what would you use as a selling point for future moms to, in turn, have them breastfeed as well?
The selling point is basically all the benefits that I've mentioned here. Obviously, this is an informational speech, not a persuasive speech, but if I had to persuade a mother, I would just say the benefits for the baby, to put themselves aside, all the pain, all the, my breasts aren't going to look as attractive to my husband or whatever. I'd put that to the side, and I'd say, this is for my baby. It's going to get all the nutritional benefits that it needs. It's not going to need to go to the hospital as much, and I would just want that for my baby. I just want the best for him, and